What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about a pretty exciting topic, and that is what, in my opinion, is the greatest mid-card title belt of all time. And I did a video about the greatest world title of all time not too long ago, and that video was extremely hard to make, but I do have to say this video was 10 times harder. So hard because there's so many great mid-card titles throughout the years. I have mid-card titles from all different companies, from all over the world, and I'm super excited to get started. But I do have a few honorable mentions. The NXT North American Championship, definitely. And there's a few others. I kind of debated on putting one of the Cruiserweight titles, but technically that's not a mid-card championship. But let's get started with number 10 on our list. There are 10, and that is the WWE or WWF European Championship. I couldn't find a really good photo, so I actually just used my photo of the replica version of the European Championship. Now, do take into account this belt, the actual belt had the WWF logo and World Wrestling Federation. Now, the reason why I put this on this list was it's such a classic belt. Now, I do think I like the block logo better, maybe even with the green strap. I kind of switch on and off depending on the day. The belt's beautiful. I mean, it's got the really nice side plates with the logo at the top with the red, which looks really good. The globe, and then it's kind of got your old school belts with the little details that are kind of just thrown on there to have something there. And then it has all the different flags. You have the Sweden flag, the Italian flag, stuff like that, and then all the flags at the bottom looks really cool. I love the detail there. And then it says, of course, European Champion on the banner, and then the two wrestlers fighting here. Now, I didn't really base this list off of actual prestige, because some of the belts on this list are not the most prestigious. Well, one in particular is not the most prestigious belt of all time. Well, maybe two. But I do like the looks of them. And now this belt is pretty prestigious. Well, not really. I mean, you had some, I think Naked Maiden actually held this belt. So it was prestigious at the start, but then it kind of slowly went downhill. So moving on with our list, we have the NWA Television Heavyweight Championship. Now, another really old, well, kind of old. I mean, it's being used today in the NWA promotion, but the one I'm talking about is kind of the older version. Now, I know this is the newer one that just got debuted, so I'm kind of contradicting myself. But let's talk about the overall design. I'm a sucker for belts with eagles. I love the eagles on belts. It doesn't get used enough, honestly, in my opinion, nowadays. The eagle has a globe in the middle. Now, I do have to say, I do enjoy this belt much better on a black strap compared to the traditional red. I'm not a big fan of red straps, even though there's like 2 or 3 belts on this list that are actually on red straps. But something about the black, it just looks great. I love the way the silver and the red play off each other. It has the television cameras, which is such a cool little effect. And probably my favorite thing about this belt is how it has the different TV stations on the side plates. You have ABC, CBS, and a few others. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe they actually got permission to use those television stations on the side plates. Maybe they did, but I think it's such a cool little detail, and I absolutely love it. Kind of reminiscent of the AEW TNT title, which definitely was a miss for me with the television kind of logo in the middle. Now, moving on to one of my favorite mid-card titles is the TNA X Division Championship. I think this is the version 2. The version 1 was the NWA TNA X Division Championship. And this belt, I love this belt. Even when I was a kid, or kiddish, I actually made this belt out of cardboard. Because, I mean, you couldn't really find the toy plastic TNA X Division belts too often. I mean, definitely not where I lived. I think they maybe sold them at Walmart or Toys R Us. I don't know. Probably on TNA's shop. But this belt is gorgeous. Once again, the red. But I love the gold. The red and the silver pop really well. But I love the gold accents on it. The border on it, the gold border. The champion, X Division champion, of course, TNA. The TNA logos on the side with just the texturing. And then the ring around it. Beautiful. The X Division looks great. X Division was a hit for me when I was little. Then you have the TNA Total Nonstop Action Wrestling Champion. Main plate's really busy with the silver details, but it kind of gets washed out when the gold's there in that red X. Now, sadly, there's no replicas. I'd love to have a replica of this. I do know that the actual TV used or ring used belt was recently sold on Belt Talk Facebook page for like 15 grand, I think. but I love this belt so much. Now moving on to one of the most recent belts on this list, and this one's probably going to be controversial. I've been kind of critical of this belt in the past. It wasn't my favorite, but I do have to say it has grown on me, and that is the IWGP United States Champion. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not the biggest fan of red straps and belts, but something, I feel like this is a different, maybe a darker red, maybe a blood or maroon red, and it looks really good with the actual plates. Now, the plates, I like it a lot, but I wish they cut down on the crazy details. Maybe added a little more paint onto the actual belt. You can see it has the Lions mark at the top in silver, which looks really good. Then these banners in the IWGP United States Champion banner with the middle having the circular with engraved on the actual circle's border, New Japan Pro Wrestling, or IWGP, or no, it does say New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then you have the United States banner kind of going in between the United States flag, which looks incredible, and then the side plates are probably my favorite thing on this belt, and they both say, of course, the United States Championship, but I love the design, or the actual overall shape and design of the side plates. Looks really cool. Honestly, it could have made a really cool main plate if they kind of blew it up and maybe stretch it a little bit, maybe even a better main plate than the actual IWGP United States Championship. But I do like this belt a lot, and I do believe it deserves to be on this list. Now moving on to another belt. This is the WWE/WWF Oval Intercontinental Championship. Now this is the Ruthless Aggression version. I'm kind of just grouping it all together. The block logo and the Attitude Era. I liked it a lot on the purple strap. I believe it was like a really either dark purple or really light shade. I honestly cannot remember that well. And of course said World Wrestling Federation. Now the biggest change between this version, the Ruthless Aggression, and the previous Attitude Era and block logo, of course, is the WWE logo, World Wrestling Entertainment, which World Wrestling Federation. And of course, there was no nameplate, so the actual nameplate was a little bit smaller. But I do think I like this design a little bit better. I mean, you kind of have to pull it apart a little bit or stretch it out so you had made space for the nameplate. Sorry about that. But I love this belt. You got the little details on the side with the six gems on top, the World Wrestling Entertainment banner. Then the little details on the side. Kind of a plain belt. Just have these little like arrows kind of deal. Not really arrows, but spikes. That's what I'm thinking. Almost spikes. Then you have the nameplate. The Intercontinental Championship banner looks really good going through the actual globe. WWE logo. And then I really like the side plates on this a lot as well, where you have the different countries. You have Europe and Africa on one side plate, North America and South America on one side plate. It looks really, really good, and I'm a big fan. Now we're going to get to the part where I said we're not going to really be showing about prestige, but more so about the overall design. And I might get a little hate for putting the next belt over the Oval Intercontinental Championship, but I do love this belt, and that is the TNA Legends Championship, the TNA Global Championship, the TNA King of the Mountain Championship. And this belt has so many different names. I don't even remember the initial concept. I think Booker T brought it into TNA when they were doing the Main Event Mafia, but I don't really remember the concept if like only legends could fight for this belt. But then you have the issue when you have legends only fighting for a belt. Who would you categorize as a legend? Someone's been in the business a long time. You could have jobbers and midcarders fighting for that if this is supposed to be a really prestigious belt, or do you just go for the legendary Hall of Famers? So I'm not a big fan of the actual legends concept, but this belt is absolutely gorgeous. You feature the crown up top with a crimson reddish strap. You have the wrestler on each side holding up the actual championship. Looks amazing. Super busy, but I absolutely love this. You have the gems on the side and the border. Then you have the Legends Championship, and then you do have a nameplate down at the bottom. I never actually noticed that. It's so small, you almost don't need the Legends nameplate in this. And then you have the Legends surrounded by the diamond border, and then the entire belt is bordered in these diamonds. Beautiful belt. I'd love to get the actual belt or a belt of this, a replica, or a bootleg made. I know the original also sold, I believe, by Belle Van Dam for like 15,000. But I'd love to see like a classic Shields version. I know they do a really nice version of this. Now moving on is kind of, I mix these together, even though different belts and different overall designs, they kind of keep it the same, and that is the WWE Intercontinental Championship, or WWF Intercontinental Championship. Now, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this not being number one, especially this one right here up top. But I've never been the biggest fan of these. I mean, I rank them extremely high, but I'm not as big fan as most people of this. I actually really like it on the white strap. And now this belt up top, the WWF block logo, was on so many different straps, I believe. White, bluish, yellow, and it looked pretty good on it. Now, one thing that I've noticed that was pointed out recently is how big this belt was compared to the actual Winged Eagle. The proportion size was way off. I do like the JMR version that Cody reintroduced a lot. I mean, the font was kind of off, but I love the texturing on it. It looked incredible. The globe, kind of a plain belt, kind of reminiscent of the European title, which was introduced, multiple years after this belt. But it just looks really nice. I love the globe, the little details with the stars. Now, these are both replicas. But you have the wrestlers doing different grapples on the side plates and the WWE logo / WF logo, the Intercontinental banner, and then the Heavyweight Wrestling Champion banner. Definitely a beautiful belt. Not number one, which I know is going to offend a very large amount of people. Now, moving on is the WCW United States Championship belt. Now, one thing you'll notice is I have a lot of United States Championship belts on this list, and I really like United States Championship belts when they're done right. And the WCW version was done right. You had the massive eagle, which is, you need an eagle on a United States Championship. You have the massive eagle, you have the U.S. flag, or the United States kind of painted in a flag form. Then you have WCW at the top, United States Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. You have the two flags at the bottom, beautiful belt. And then the texturing on the side, it's extremely hard to read that, which is World Wrestling. I'm just going to assume it's World Wrestling or World Championship Wrestling. Extremely hard to see. I don't know if there's actually any other. There might be wrestlers fighting in there. Really hard to see in this lighting of the texturing on it. I think there's a different one that's not as hard to see on this, but this one looks beautiful. Maybe just because all the gold or paint rubbed off, because I believe this was the ring used version. It just looks beautiful. This is what you need for a mid-card title. Something that looks beautiful and prestigious, but not overshadowing your main world championship. And there was, as you can see here, a little logo, but the picture's kind of cut off. Now, next up, I have an irrational love for New Japan Pro Wrestling Championship belts, and that love continues with the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Now, this is the version 2. I did know this, but a lot of people didn't know what the version 1 actually looked like. It was kind of bronze. Not the most beautiful belt, definitely. This belt is so gorgeous. On the white strap, which looks incredible with the mostly gold. This is a classic shield, I believe, and it's not finished. It's missing the gems. But this belt screams prestigious. You have the lion's mark at the top, the beautiful details on the borders with the gems. The banner looks incredible, and then the globes are raised. Looks beautiful. You have Intercontinental Championship. Shows off different parts of the world. Gorgeous belt. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, the New Japan did put out a replica of this recently, and it looks absolutely terrible. Pretty much the original belt was destroyed, and they tried to fix the original belt, and it just fell apart again. So they brought in a bootleg, and they just based the replicas off the bootleg, and it looks terrible. So this belt kind of almost falls down a couple pegs, in my opinion, just because the actual belt is a bootleg now, and it just looks absolutely garbage. Now, belt next up is a classic. I'm sure not a lot of people will agree with me, but that is the NWA United States Championship. I ranked it higher than everyone else just because I love everything about it. I don't think I'd change a single thing about this belt besides maybe painting the NWA at the top and maybe on the side plates, but that's literally it. No other change. I love the shape of the main plate. I love the circular side plates with the kind of the United States shield with the NWA at the top on both sides. I love the leather, the detailing in the leather. Just everything, and of course it has a beautiful eagle, and then the National Wrestling Alliance, Society, with the United States flag in blue looks incredible. Then you have the United States actually like on a map kind of deal, surrounded by blue, and then the detailing on this is absolutely beautiful, and it's definitely my favorite mid-card title of all time. So let me know in the comments below, did you agree with my list? What would you change? But I do thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.